a boyfriend competing for that CBAT fame, a woman's sad realization that a boyfriend is a tater-tot, and the 1 month saga of just a prank bro getting his just desserts. Hello you jacks, my name's Snack. Thought I'd slightly confuse you with the opener there so you're more prepared for the slightly confusing choices people make in today's stories. Let's go! My boyfriend keeps doing the Mongolian throat singing when we get intimate, and I don't know why. So I, a 22 female, and my boyfriend, who's 24, have been going out for a little while, and things have been great so far. However, recently he has started practicing Mongolian throat singing from YouTube videos. And I was like, that was cool of him to learn, but it's getting really annoying. It has gotten to the point where he started doing it when we get intimate. Like now I really honestly hate it, and it really does irk me. I want him to stop, and I tell him I'd rather he not make those noises. He just keeps doing it, and at every moment, and there are times I'd wish he realized, but he'd say no and just shut up. I'm sorry, this sounds so weird, and I'm at a wit's end now. I don't know what to do anymore. Well, thank you for listening to my rant. To say what we're all thinking, Reddit, what the flip is going on today? Don't know what to do anymore? Right before he's about to finish, step back and do a weird little mating dance. Seriously, what is this? First the CBAT man, now the Mongolian throat singer. Though I have to wonder, assuming this isn't just gaslighting, is he actually Mongolian throat singing? Or is his grunting just so melodic and harmonious that she thinks it's actually singing? And in case you're wondering what it is... yeah, that gets me in the mood. Seriously, my mens, why? Stop doing this. It's kinda sad to say too though, that this guy, this boyfriend in today's video is probably the mildest of terrible partners. We're still in True Off My Chest, where we come to a story that has a recent update. My ex-boyfriend told me he will cheat on me while we were intimate. I'm a 27 female, and I've been with my boyfriend, 28 male, for 2.5 years now. Our relationship didn't have any problems. Until recently, he started to be less intimate with me. He blames it on work and other things. We hardly get time for each other. I once sat him down to talk to me. I expressed my feelings that we were not being as intimate as often as we did, and that we should have something to talk about it. We had an hours-long talk and came to a solution that we should track back to the times we started dating. He was good to me then. He brought me flowers and left me love notes. We had more passionate time together. But that stopped after 3 weeks. Ooh, that's some foreshadowing for us there. I'm just saying that reeks of Loverboy method. I thought this time we should have a serious talk about our relationship and where it is going. I tried to talk to him, but he just told me he was really exhausted. I know people would normally tell me that he is cheating on me, but I have yet to get any suspicion of it. We still know each other's passwords. I haven't found anything yet. After weeks of withholding intimacy from me, he was very lovey-dovey. He would cook for me and clean the house without even me having to tell him. He was very intimate with me. That day, he set up a romantic mood for me and pampered me. So we took things to our bedroom. He was really gentle at first, but then got rough. I mean, it felt good. We were going through a dry spell during that time. But when I was about to finish, he choked me and said, "I will cheat on you. That's not very nice at all." I froze. I didn't finish, but he did. I don't know what came onto me. I was filled with rage. I kicked him out of my bed, and he had the nerve to act shocked, like he hasn't done anything wrong. I was screaming, "Get out!" I was on full rampage. I was pushing him out of my bedroom, not caring he was only able to get his underwear and that I was naked. I was able to kick him out in the middle of the night and told him to never show his face or I will kill him. We do not live together, so no, he won't be homeless. I am still a bit shaken of what happened. He kept blasting my phone that I overreacted. Immediately, you can tell that this guy has read something online or watched an adult video and thought, "Oh yeah, that girl likes it, so my girlfriend will too." And you know what the thing is? Maybe she could have been. She could have been all on board for this roleplay, sir, if you made it clear it was going to be a roleplay. You see, it seems he skipped over the first part of any sort of proposition to the relationship. The thing that she was trying to do at the start of the story. Talk. Communicate. I mean, he did the first 3 letters of that word, but, maybe next time you'll reach the rest of the word. Of course, with the withholding of intimacy, especially from a guy, many people would jump to the conclusion, yeah, okay, he's already cheated. Which brings us over to the update a day later. What is the conclusion? Did the man cheat? Are they even more pathetic than we realize? Yes, they are. I didn't realize I had to give an update so soon, but my stupid brain-dead ex finally gave a justification to why he said that. I think it's worth to know because I am still thinking about it. So, last night, he texted me and said he wants to apologize for what he has done. He told some friends of his hoping that they would take his side, but most of them said he was crazy and stupid. So, I arranged a meetup at a random restaurant. I will not risk him being at my home after what he did. I also took his stuff in a bag. I am done with him. No matter what excuses he has, it is not enough to justify what he did. So today, we met for lunch. And he immediately begged for forgiveness as soon as he saw the bag full of his stuff. He told me he made a mistake. He was stupid to think this would actually work on me. He only realized he was wrong when his friends told him he was a psycho for saying something like that. I asked him, why did he think something like this would actually work? Better yet, why would you only realize it was wrong when your friends told you were psycho, not when your girlfriend at the time was literally attacking you, punching you, telling you to get out or she'd kill you? I mean, I don't know about you, but that's a pretty clear signal that she wasn't into what you did. So that son of a bee gave the most dumbest explanation in the human history. He has been watching a lot of Manosphere podcasts, mostly for financial advice. He started watching a very infamous person who is now in jail for human trafficking. I can't say his name because I once got a warning, but you guys know who he is. He is a tater tot. Oh, I love that name. So, my ex told me he saw one of his videos where he teaches how to reprogram a woman. Oh god. That's why he has been withholding intimacy, and only giving me intimacy in random times when I was very vulnerable. Oh, and the part where he chokes me and says, I will cheat on you, it was also from a tater tot video. My bonehead ex explains that if you tell a girl that you will cheat on her while she is about to finish, it will be programmed into her brain. What? So the next time you cheat or mention cheating, it will make her horny, and she will not revolt. God damn, the hoops you were jumping through in this psychological justification. Look, I have been taking computer programming classes for a while now, but I know for sure that this is not how programming works. But anyways, I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. I asked him, why did he feel the need to say it? He told me he was afraid I will cheat on him, so he wanted to create this in my head so that I never think about cheating on him. But he swears that he will not cheat on me. Yeah, sure, I believe that. My blood was boiling. I wanted to yell, but swallowed all my anger. It really is fascinating how much effort these men will put into making a girl like them and desire them, without doing all the things he was already doing to make her like and desire you. You know all that pampering you did before you took her to the bedroom? She liked that. That's all you needed to do, my man. But no, instead you had to listen to a man who doesn't even have a degree in psychology. At the end, I stood up and told him, well, now you know it doesn't. And word of advice, stop following a human trafficker and stop taking relationship lessons from a guy who is toxic and has an IQ equivalent to a potato. Otherwise, you will have to date your right hand for the rest of your pathetic existence. He whinged and said to give him a second chance, and I just told him I would rather stick my head into a hornet's nest than give an incel man-child like him a second chance. He is 28, almost in his 30s, and still listens to men like Tater Tot. He has no personality for himself. He just borrowed his from a smex trafficker. Well, that's it. I cannot believe I was dating a tater tot. I think I need to take several showers now. I didn't even ask him if he was cheating or not, but does it really matter now? Quick edit, so I have been getting messages and some comments, mainly people who are supporting me. I want to say thanks. I know it's a really stupid thing that someone would say something like that while they were getting it on. It is hard for me to believe it still, but I guess some people are just as stupid as my ex. I mean, hey, there's a reason Tater-Tot himself has gotten so much money. And yes, many people were supportive, not sure whether to laugh or cringe, and yes, I'm very much in the same boat. If only he could have opened up about his insecurities to you instead of trying to mind control you with his random mumbo-jumbo, maybe it would have ended better for him. Now, I will just say, I can understand this whole insecurity of being open enough to a partner who you genuinely feel is possibly going to cheat on you at some point or find something better one day. And look, gents, if that is a thing you fear, either you're an idiot or your partner's just a great example as to the male experience of a toxic partner, and you should joy in dumping their ass and throwing them to the street. There is nothing to celebrate in sticking with a partner who you can't be open about your insecurities to. It's an ironic paradox of where you're a tough man because you're too afraid to be more emotionally honest with your partner who you're afraid is going to leave you if she finds out you're not so tough. And that makes you tough because you're resilient in hiding your feelings, which also makes you weak because you're too scared to be honest in this vulnerable state, but also that makes you tough because you are being vulnerable, but that... See, you see how it doesn't make any sense. But just underneath that previous comment, we get this little mention. I'm not sure about that being the most stupid. I just read about the king of stupid wearing a costume to scare the girlfriend's family while out camping. She broke up with him, so he proceeded to stalk her. It kept getting more and more stupid, and police were involved. Which brings us to the best of Reddit updates. Oh lordy, is this a bunch of ridiculousness. My girlfriend is threatening to break up with me over a prank that I pulled on her and her family. Here's a little mood spoiler. Inconclusive. The OP doesn't seem to understand what he did and is planning one last prank. This past weekend was the big camping trip that my girlfriend would be taking with her and her family. It would consist of her, her parents, her youngest sister, her aunt and uncle, and her 3 cousins, and it was a big family trip that was being planned for cooler weather. My girlfriend told me all about it, where they would be camping, and I decided to take advantage of that knowledge. So I visited my girlfriend's house to say goodbye to her and wish her a fun trip, and when they all took off in their cars, I got in my car and drove to the campsite where they would be staying at. I know the area pretty well, and I was able to find a spot to hide my car from view, and I was able to navigate the woods and keep an eye on them while remaining hidden from view. When it came to nighttime, I put on a Chewbacca costume and ruffled it up a little to make it look wild and untamed. While the family was gathered around the campfire, I started to rustle the bushes. The family noticed, but they didn't think much of it. Then I started to make growling noises. The family was getting noticeably freaked out, and then my girlfriend's uncle started to walk towards where I was hiding. As soon as he got close enough, I jumped out from behind the bushes and started making roaring noises while running around, acting like a Bigfoot. I shook their tents, threw lawn chairs around, and chased after their cousins. I heard my girlfriend's dad yell, "Get the gun!" And that's when I knew I had to end the prank. I took off the costume, revealed myself, and the entire family was annoyed. Long story short, I got yelled at by almost all of her family, and the noise attracted the campsite manager, who kicked me out after hearing what happened. Today I heard back from my girlfriend for the first time since the prank, and she said that she's seriously considering breaking up with me. She just said that she needs some time to think about that, and she'll let me know when she's made her decision. Now I'm just left wondering what I'd do. I'm thinking that I need to pull off a major apology, and I need some advice on what to say to save this relationship. Now, for context, this story started about 4 years ago, and at the time was rather quiet in terms of traffic. Top vote only got about 76 upvotes, mostly everyone just saying that, yeah, you were lucky you were not dead. No one really offering any advice on how to rectify this, but nonetheless, we move on to an update where he confronts the entire family and nothing goes his way. I'm honestly really embarrassed and humiliated about this update. I almost considered not even posting it, but I feel the need to vent and express my frustrations in some way, so here it is. I really hope you don't think too badly of me and you understand what I'm going through after last night. So last night, my girlfriend's family was holding a barbecue in their backyard, and my girlfriend was able to talk her dad into inviting me. He was originally against the idea of me coming, but he was willing to let me come so long as the first thing I do is offer a genuine apology for the prank that I pulled on all of them. I arrived in their backyard, and everybody that I pranked at the campsite was sitting at a table, and they were all clearly waiting for me to arrive. I sat down next to my girlfriend, and I began my apology. I stated that my prank was ill-timed, immature, and thoughtless, and I apologized for ruining their camping trip that they had apparently been planning for some time. I tried to make it as genuine and sincere as possible, and when I was done, I waited for some type of response. There was a really long, awkward silence as the whole family just stared at me. Then the uncle whispered something into the dad's ear, and they both burst out laughing, but I couldn't make out what he said. The dad then said that he didn't accept my apology, and then he told me to leave. My initial response was a very loud, "What the hell?" And that made things worse. My girlfriend's dad kept telling me to leave and I lost my temper. I swiped an empty plastic cup off the table and I said to the family, "Fine, screw all of you," then flipping them off with both middle fingers. As I was leaving the backyard, my girlfriend caught up to me and said that she was breaking up with me. She said that I was too immature and impulsive and that she said that she wants me to leave her and her family alone. I tried apologizing to her profusely. I kept saying, "Babe, I'm sorry. Just give me another chance and I promise I'll be good. I promise." I kept saying this over and over, but she said that she's given me millions of chances and that she can't fix me. She then walked off and I did something that made things even worse. I yelled at her, called her a female dog, and then I started kicking and punching their wooden fence that separates their front and backyard. I knocked down part of the fence and then I left. All of that happened last night and I feel terrible. Part of me wants to just give up on her and move on. But I also want to prove to her that I'm capable of changing. I want to promise her no more pranks along with trying to control my temper. What do you think I should do? Now, personally, I am going to agree with this comment here. How they start with mentioning that it was rather immature on this family's part to basically humiliate you. They totally set you up for this. At least the dad definitely did. Clearly the girlfriend had intentions to break up with you. She didn't need to bring you to everyone's face to shame you and then, make you feel even worse. I'd argue, if anything, that should be great motivation as to why you shouldn't hassle them anymore and leave them alone. But of course, if that was the thing they were going to do, we wouldn't literally have a 10th update. Yeah. And it's all just within a span of a month too, by the way. They're just... Maybe go apologize again. No! The second update is merely a revision on the night before, requesting help and legal advice as to what he can do about the broken fence situation. But in a third update, they come back to relationship advice, still not seeming to learn that it's over, move on. Simply put, I can't stop thinking about my ex-girlfriend. I can barely eat, sleep, or do anything that used to make me happy. Last night I watched my first ever hockey game and I was excited about that a few months ago, but now I don't even care. I spent the whole game thinking about my ex and how she broke up with me. Think less about how she broke up with you and more about how she humiliated you and made you a total joke in front of other people. That's a pretty a-hole move, buddy. Focus on that. This is one of those cases where I say focus on the hate. The hate can be helpful. Unfortunately, they end this post requesting help into how they can make things right, how they can fix this, of which everyone is saying no. Leave her alone. It's been like maybe a few weeks, a week at most. What makes you think you are a better man? What actual work have you done to try and be better? Have you found a therapist or counselor to talk about your anger issues, the series of bad choices you've made, and the immature behavior you have engaged in with her and her family? Like, it's all good, you feel ashamed and you feel sad, but that doesn't mean you've changed. That just means you've reacted. And that's where we come to the fourth update. And do you want to know, dear reader, would you like to perceive how he thinks he can prove he's a better man? He's changed for the better now? My idea is to dress up as Bigfoot again, but not to scare anyone. I'm going to dress up, go into her backyard with an old stereo or CD player that still works, and play Sorry by Buck Cherry. I'll play it loud enough for her to hear, and I'm hoping she'll accept it and see it as a cute apology. I know it sounds a little cliche, the whole stereo outside the window thing, but I'm hoping that the Bigfoot costume might be a new little twist on it, and it'll be my way of apologizing for the Bigfoot prank. What do you think? I think you should give me 2 more minutes for my popcorn to be ready. Of course everyone was saying that this is a bad idea. But fret not with update number 5. It turns out OP actually read some of the comments. After reading through some of the responses from yesterday, I decided to just go for it and get it over with. I dressed up in the ruffled up Chewbacca costume, gripped the stereo, and walked over to my girlfriend's house at nighttime. We live in the same neighborhood, and there's a shortcut through a little stretch of woods that I take from my place to hers, and that's the route I took last night. I climbed into their backyard, and I stood in their grass. holding up the stereo while playing the song that I had intended. Sorry by Buck Cherry. The problem is that the stereo was an old piece of work that I dug up from my basement and the volume wasn't loud at all. It sounded muffled, and I didn't want to risk moving closer to the house in case I was seen. Then why wear the costume? You know, the thing that you wear to be seen in? But I wanted something to come from the night, and I set down the stereo and peered into the window that I knew led to my girlfriend's room. It's alright guys, it's not creepy, because he's doing a romantic gesture. My girlfriend was just playing with her phone on her bed, and I just stared into her room for a little while. I guess I was caught up in staring at her since I hadn't seen her in a few weeks, and I didn't realize that I had been staring in there for a long time. I turned to leave, but I saw one of her neighbors out on their porch, looking directly at me, and they were on their phone. My first thought was that they were probably calling the police, and I panicked. I did something really stupid and tried to go in my girlfriend's house by pulling out their back green door, but her mom saw me trying to get in, and she screamed. I then ran back towards the woods, and I tried to pick up the stereo, but I really hurt my back while bending over, so I just left it in their backyard. The back pain was also shooting down my left leg, and I had to limp away from the house, and I limped through the woods back to my house while also cussing at myself at how screwed up my plan was. The worst part is that this morning, my girlfriend called me and left a message on my phone. She said that she knows it was me at her house and that she's only giving me one final warning before she talks to police about harassment charges as well as a restraining order. She says that she's never getting back together with me, and she told me to move on. Now I'm really depressed, which is how I've been feeling in the past few weeks. I'm physically hurting from my back and leg pain, and I'm emotionally hurting from my girlfriend's words. I'm just really upset and ticked off. What should I do? I'm starting to realize that this isn't a question, this is just how they sign off. We then move over to legal advice for the 6th update. My ex-girlfriend is threatening a restraining order against me. Will this give me a criminal record? Of course, asking if what their girlfriend is saying, well, ex-girlfriend, is legitimate. Of course, at the time, people were quick to find their post history and say, yeah, look, okay, you know what? You deserve this restraining order. But seemingly, in an attempt to make him seem like more of a victim in this circumstance, my ex-girlfriend's dad just broke my property and threatened me. Can I take legal action? I won't go into detail, but I left a stereo of mine at my ex-girlfriend's house, and this morning, I got a text from her dad. It was a picture of the completely destroyed stereo next to a baseball bat, and the message read, "That's your head if you come near my house again." I want to know if I can actually take action against him for this. He destroyed my stereo and threatened to bash in my head with a baseball bat. What actions can I take? This is all taking place in Denver, Colorado. Oh, what an innocent victim he must be. Now look, to be fair, it is pretty ridiculous of this adult man to make such a threat against someone, but at the same time, if someone breaks into your house for a quick second wearing a scruffed up outfit similar to the outfit of someone you ridiculed and publicly shamed, yeah, look, I don't blame the dad for thinking that you were going to break into the house for ulterior motives than just to get back with your ex-girlfriend. In the 8th update, they finally seem to consider moving on. Of course, explaining how much it hurts to see her seeming to be hell happy together and moving on, he does ask for some genuine help in this as to, yeah, it seems to be a case of suffering from a bit of Romeo syndrome. But then later on in the month, we come back to legal advice, where this next update becomes a great example of your past sneaking back up onto you. My ex-girlfriend's dad is trying to charge me with harassment and stalking charges, and I did nothing wrong. Last night was obviously Halloween, and while I normally don't trick or treat at my age, I ended up taking my little cousin out around the neighborhood while my parents and hers were at a Halloween party. I also figured that I would wear my Chewbacca costume since I wanted to dress up, and I didn't have any other last-minute costumes. We walked around our neighborhood for a little while, and we ended up on the same block as my ex-girlfriend's house. I knew it was only an inevitability that we would cross her house, but I honestly wasn't worried about it. I figured that her dad may not be even out to see us, as all I'm doing is trick-or-treating. We ended up walking by her house, and of course, both of her parents were sitting by their garage with a bowl of candy to hand out. I tried to grab my cousin and make for the opposite direction, but it was too late. I heard my ex's dad yell, "I see you!" and he clearly recognized me. I just grabbed my cousin and we made our way back to my house without looking back at my ex's house. We got home, but almost an hour later, the cops arrived and they told me that my ex's dad wants to press charges on me for stalking and harassment. I'm currently awaiting a court date, and I think this is all ridiculous. I didn't have any premeditated plans to go near their house, nor did I have any intent with their property. I was simply trick-or-treating with my cousin and we just happened to come across their home. The dad simply acts as if he's the king of the block and he can dictate who walks in the area. What can I do to prepare for my court case? What arguments can I take? I wasn't stalking the house last night and I wasn't planning on doing anything. I simply walked by it while trick-or-treating and the dad threw a fit? Like, what can I do? You could perhaps not make a post on Reddit proclaiming that you knew you were going to cross their house and didn't care. It's one thing if you were genuinely forgetful that you were going to be walking into their part of the neighborhood, but no, I'm sorry, this is a case where, yeah, this is really all on you. Which brings us to the final update of things. Over in r/relationships, the OP lets us know my ex-girlfriend drunk texted me last night and was constantly insulting me. How can I get revenge? Last night, my ex texted me and she was clearly drunk. A lot of her texts were either gibberish or in poor grammar, but I could make out what she was communicating. Basically, she was celebrating me having charges pressed against me, and she was texting stuff like, "I hope he rot in jail," and "Lock him up!" I responded with texts of my own. I called her names, but she obviously didn't seem fazed. But simply sending her some mean texts isn't enough for me. I honestly think that she has some nerve to kick me while I'm down, while all she has to do is stay on the sidelines while daddy does all the work. I've spent all day thinking about how I can get back at her over this. Part of me thinks that I should just wait until I'm done going to court, but I also want to strike back while the event is still fresh. I'm thinking of one final prank. What should I do? So essentially, this man is like a textbook example of the person who reacts before thinking. Some theorize that she's actually trying to bait him, if anything. While I'm not sure if that's necessarily true, I can see it more so she's just taking advantage of the fact that he's already on the ground, kicking him while he's down, so to speak. Hard to argue he's a victim of harassment. That's a reach. The reason this story has come up though is because it's been compiled just a few days ago by Squirrel Girl VA. Wonderful work, woman. And I think some fresh eyes have absolutely nailed this. This is like reading a choose-your-own-adventure book and purposefully making the worst choices every possible chance you get. He just keeps making it worse. I had to enter the 4th update just to make sure what the flip the comments were saying, because no way in hell are they going to apologize in the freaking Chewbacca costume was a good idea. I did the same. He made it sound like a couple of people agreed with him. No one did. In fact, everyone told him to stop. Yet he just kept on going. No! He should have stood outside his ex's window and said, "I want Chewbacca." I've made some Wookiee errors. Ooh. Overall, they never returned to Reddit since then, so I guess it's up to the rest of us to assume how things ended, but I definitely don't doubt that, yeah, he probably did wear it to court. Let's be honest. It sounds like his MO. Anyway, that's where we'll end today's stories there. Only a few, because this one just had so many to read through. Hope you enjoyed your time today. I certainly did. And if there are any children out there watching this video complaining about the fact that there's only boyfriends who are the problem in all these stories, bro, like last week, 90% of the stories we're reading were about cheating or terrible women, so I don't know what to give you. Anyway, you'll be good, love your face, drink some water, glug glug glug, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.